Watched any of the previous episodes of Myth, Magic, Medicine, it may be a little jarring to see me pop up here. Dr. Nawras Abuhamidah chatted with me for the show on Sunday, September 10th. And we recorded this short, very short redo 2 weeks later because less than a day after we'd talked, our home country of Libya was devastated by the dam failures. Just didn't feel right to either of us to post a chit-chatty video so soon after the disaster, and she kindly agreed to a brief conversation with me about the efforts in Libya. There are links to organizations helping there and throughout the world in the notes below. Thank you for watching. I rarely ask, but please share this podcast as widely as you can within your community. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for coming.
So it's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate disaster happened on September 10th, the Sunday. As you all know, the storm Danielle struck the city of Derna. And at that time, the heavy rain destroyed two dams and the two dams in Derna, which is called Derna Wadi River. And that caused a gush of estimate of around 8 million gallons of water who flooded the city of Derna and unfortunately caused all the damage, sweep out all the buildings, cars, people, belonging all away and cause all that damage and disaster. So I'm here to answer any question you have.
Well, I would, the initial death, expected death count was then drastically revised by the World Health Organization. Do you have any up-to-date numbers? Because we're two weeks out now.
The last time I looked, they were estimated anywhere between 2,000 to 3,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
not as bad as they initially thought, but at least it's a terrible number of people anyway.
It is. And there's a lot of thousands of people also still missing. So that's kind of up in the air whether, they're going to be added to the number as well.
You probably don't know the exact number, but what's the estimated number of internal refugees? These are now thousands of people they have to house.
40,000. 43,000 people were the last number that I heard. They were displaced either in the neighboring cities or somewhere with their relatives, but it's estimated to be a 43,000.
Okay. And any country would be struggling with that kind of events. So what sorts of things is Libya asking for external help for?
Definitely, there's a huge help. From what I heard is just the humanitarian aid, the psychosocial support, mental health, sanitations, medication, everything that you can think of after disaster, we definitely help with. Although they doing their best with a lot of supplies coming from outside the country, but it's still a huge need for those aids for sure.
Yeah. And I did see some pictures of children in school because the schools were buildings that were still standing. So are they using those kind of facilities to house the people at the moment?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the school has been used to have the people stay in them. A lot of the neighborhood cities also try to absorb those refugees, help them, of course. Like city of Benghazi, city of Eastern Libya is trying to absorb and help, especially that there's a lot of people from there. They have relatives and friends from nearby cities.
Yeah.
So
you said before we started talking, you said your mother is from the eastern part of the country.
Yes,
is she from Derna or from a nearby city?
She born in Derna, but she's her family, and she's originally from Benghazi, which is a close 50 kilometer away from Derna. Her family, luckily, all not affected, but I mean, you just deeply affected by all these people who and hear about. It's really disaster that it's so unfortunate.
Are there particular health issues other than physical injury, obviously, but are there particular health issues? Is sanitation going to pose major health problems more than they would
Of
perhaps in this country?
Yes, of course. As in any situations with all these dead bodies and all these destructions that happen, there is a fear always of an epidemic that can happen due to that unhealthy waters, sanitations, a lot of mental health issues as well. There's gonna be accompanied all the stress and accompanying all the loss of
Mhm.
bodies and relatives and you know the kids are lost their school and families are in the stress of losing relatives and what's going to happen to them in the futures. Among all that, there is definitely
And
um
the great fear,
mm,
because they don't necessarily know if their loved ones are safe. There's still thousands of people missing. So,
correct. And now
uh,
seeing all these people who wish that their relatives' body may be found to kind of get them buried, just kind of to get them some relief where they are.
right, to have
And
a situation that you can define. So yes. Is
yeah,
there was some earlier reporting about other dams or similar facilities that were also in danger for subsequent storms. Is there anything being done about that, or was that just a fear?
those particular dams, they are last time had maintenance in 2008, 2009. And with that being happened, that kind of eye opener on
Mhm.
whether we're going to do another, you know, infrastructure work or maintenance on other dams in the country. And it's a work in progress for sure. Yeah, you're right.
Mm.
So that kind of brought to our attention that there's something else need to be done to prevent another disaster.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you talk about, really want to talk about loss, but I think it's pertinent. The the area, I don't think most Americans and other people like me who watch the news and vague idea of where things are. Benghazi and Tripoli are two towns that we recognize the name of, but Derna probably wasn't on most people's radar. What is the area? What is the most important aspect of that area to the country? Is it food growing? Is it seaport? What is the importance of that
It's
part?
Yeah, it's one of the beautiful city actually in Libya. It kind of have a very strategic geographical situations. Is like next to the Mediterranean, on the Mediterranean Sea. It's also like bordered by mountain, and it has that river which is divide the city into two parts, which is
Mhm.
make it a good media. I mean, to grow, of course, a lot of plants, like make it a very good transportation tourist area, if you would. A lot of Libyans go there to kind of have a vacations, have a good sea sighting, and of course, like on the Mediterranean Sea, so it's perfect weather
Mhm.
in there. The only thing is that it has never before that they witnessed some disaster like this or have
Mhm.
that um ever thought of like that river is gonna accumulate that amount of rain before, like even talking to my mom like from the east part of the country, and from what she heard that never this accumulate that much of the rainwater until
Mhm.
that happened.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
climate change is affecting everybody. I mean, it's just, why were we
that's true.
covering our eyes so much? Make this a very short episode. Yes, there are people who are affected by this. Is there anything else you particularly like to say? And then I'm going to ask you, please come back for season 4, and we'll just do another conversation all about you, because it just feels very odd to suddenly, how's life in Omaha? Is your Libyan, um, is the community here in the US? Do you have a support community of people that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there is a huge Indian community all over the US. In Omaha, not so much. It's not big community, like 7 families or so. But in
Okay.
US, yeah, they are great support, great community. Yeah. There's a lot of physician as well.
But then you have that sort of little guilt. Should I be somewhere else? Not you. You've got
Yeah.
a tiny baby to look after. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard anything about actual relief efforts that are going on?
Say that again, one more time, sorry.
Have you heard of specifically from home or from your mother about relief efforts that are going on? Are there
Yeah,
physicians going in? I mean, I assume there are, but which
yes.
organizations do you know about that have gone there?
So the first organizations that went in there was the Red Crescent, the Libyan Red Crescent.
Mhm.
There's also of in I would say like a voluntary doctor who voluntarily went extra mile and went and helped because there's only one hospital in there up and running at the time of that all that happened. But a lot of doctors that went on their own, Red Crescent for sure is the first one, and then of course that by the time that it accumulates and it build up a lot of people that came and helped, volunteer people, physician as well, and then also there is a hospital, infield hospital that has been made up at the time of the disasters, which is kind of accumulate and recruit physicians from over the Libya.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, how much is language an issue with working there?
No, at
No.
all. Speak Arabic, English as well. Some people also speak a little bit Italian as well.
Oh, really?
Uh,
Okay. I got to go check my
yeah.
history books as to why that happened.
No, a language is not an issue. And actually, there is also like neighbor countries and other countries also send their well-trained rescue team because there were like a huge need for help in rescuing, specialized rescuing team who
Yes.
try to rescue bodies from the water and all that. So Turkey sent a team, Tunisia, I would say UAE, also Egypt. They're
Hmm.
all kind of. Hmm.
Good.
Hmm.
Okay. This is a very short episode. I'm just so stuck. It makes it real to you. We are one family in the world. When you know somebody who's actually from that area, it makes it much more real. Even though you may feel terrible watching the news, once you turn it off, you could it
It
otherwise none of
relates.
us would get through the day, would we? But it does make so much difference when you know somebody from there. And your husband, does he have family from the area
His,
too?
not from the area, not from the area. He's from a city called Guryan, but he, of course, as we all kind of see that news, it's very sad because it's your country.
Yeah,
Although that you don't know anybody that is affected, but we truly all affected by that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you obviously are not going to be going back there with four children to look after and a new baby. But
I
do you know of any Americans who are likely to go, or American organizations yet that are involved?
don't know. I don't know actually if any American organizations. I know that UNICEF are sending supplies and they have a lot of volunteer. United Nations, UN, as I said, IOM, and then the countries that I mentioned already. But I don't know of any American organizations actually or physicians that kind of volunteer there
Mhm.
so far.
From
Mhm.
perhaps individuals who come from the area.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm. How long do they estimate it will take, assuming no other disasters, for them to rebuild the area?
Excellent question. Just hearing what the mayor was saying about the mayor of Derna was saying is still they're doing the disaster aftermath
Yeah.
where, where they think it's going to be a lot of money needed to have Derna back up and running, but
Hmm.
he didn't really give a number
Hmm.
as far as
I mean, they're still in the disaster. We're still trying to find.
absolutely,
Oh, hello, we'll
absolutely.
find some people who are still alive, but just the day they. I also saw that it struck me as this little odd actually that the United Nations said, please stop using mass graves because it is so difficult for families to mourn and the other parts of dealing with death that one needs to do, but it's also physically you just have to deal with that huge number of bodies. It's a difficult issue to deal with.
Very, very difficult. I agree with you. Yeah. So it's gonna take time. I agree with you. It's gonna take time, like any other disaster, like a tsunami or any other disaster happen. It's gonna take its time. Needs a lot of hard work to kind of get it back up and running. But yeah, a lot of efforts, a lot of hard work, I guess, on different aspects. They try to build back the electricity. They try to figure out the communication, telecommunications, try to get like, the food, the healthy water, like the sanitation water also as well. So that's gonna take a lot of time to kind of figure.
Did the storm affect other areas of the country as well? Or it was just
Did.
where the dam. Okay. How bad
Yeah,
was the storm for the rest
well,
of the country?
yeah, the eastern city in general affected, but I get the most impact is happen in Derna, but I guess Susa and the other eastern cities, sorry, was also affected as well with that. But the focus is mostly driven into Derna because of the huge impact and what happened,
Yes.
the unfortunate
Of
situation.
course.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Usually when
Thank
I
you.
do these podcasts, it's like so, and it's very upbeat because life is
Yeah,
generally very good. But this is it's really takes your breath away a little bit when this happens. Just in the family.
yes, does
So
it does.
I will
Thank
say I will put information on both the YouTube channel and in the regular podcast. There will be info in the show notes for organizations that are working there, and I will put information on how to contact Nawras for whatever you may wish to speak to her about. But she will be back next season to tell us all about her work here in the US and her family and how she got here, which is what we thought we'd be talking about. So thank you
you, Denise.
very much for coming today. And thank you, everybody, for listening to this rather short podcast. But go investigate how we can help Derna. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Denise. Bye.
Thank you for joining us at Myth Magic Medicine. If you have found this episode useful, you can apply for free CME credit through the link provided in the transcript. If you're not a medical professional, please remember, while we're physicians, we're not your physicians. So please consult with your own healthcare professional if you think something you have heard might apply to you or a loved one. Until next time, bye-bye.